So to start your star stitch, you're going to work with a multiple of 2 plus 2. So 2 stitches for every star stitch plus 2, which is like a half star stitch on either end. We're going to work a beginning star stitch at the start of the row, and then we're going to make star stitch across and then do an end star stitch. The end star stitch is the way I work it. It's not the same in all tutorials. So here I have a chain of 22 stitches. I'm going to start in the second chain from the hook, insert hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on hook. Then I'm going to repeat that until I've got 6 loops on my hook into each chain. So this is essentially working a single crochet 5 together along the first 6 chains. You've skipped that first one. So let's yarn over and pull through all 6, and that creates my beginning star stitch. I'm going to chain 1. So that's effectively equivalent to 2 stitches. To make my star stitch, which is the typical star stitch we're going to work along the row, I'm going to insert my hook into that chain I just made. So that's the center or the eye of the star. So let's insert that, pull up a loop. Then again, I'm just going to carry on to make a single crochet 5 together, but the stitches I'm going to use are that first stitch, this leg, which is the last loop of the previous stitch, that same chain, the next chain, and the next chain. So that's where we're going to get our 5 stitches from. So let's insert it. I like to do it if I can under both loops there, but it can be a bit fiddly to find those. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Insert into that chain there. Yarn over and pull up a loop. And then the next 2 chains. Yarn over, pull through all 6, and then a chain. So that's my first sort of full star stitch made. So I'm just going to carry on repeating that across the row. You soon get into the kind of rhythm of it, but each time just check you've got 6 before you pull through them all. So I'm going to complete this until I have just 1 chain left at the end of the row, and then we're going to make our end or finishing star stitch. So I've got 1 chain left there. You can see that's my first set. It will kind of curl in a little bit like that until you've worked a few rows and it evens out with your tension. So my finishing star stitch, which is kind of like a half star stitch, this is the way I choose to finish the row, but there's various ways. So like the other star stitch, I'm going to insert into that eye, pull up a loop, insert into the leg of the end of the previous stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert into the same chain, pull up a loop, and then just insert into that last chain and pull up a loop. So I've only got 5 stitches on my hook, which is why it's kind of a half star stitch. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through all of those, and then I'm going to make a chain just to tighten it off, but that chain doesn't really count as a stitch. So then I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to complete the stars by working 2 half double crochet in each of those eyes. So at the start I'm going to chain 2, which for me doesn't count as a double crochet. So you can either work a single half double crochet into that chain that you created to finish it, but actually you can end up with a bit of a bump. So I'm just going to work it into the top of that last stitch there. So that's just a half double crochet. Then going across, I'm just going to work 2 half double crochet in the eye of each star. So when I come to the last eye, which is that first star we worked, I'm going to work 2 into there, and then I'm going to work 1 more half double crochet, and I'm going to work it into this part here, which is the kind of chain. It's the 3rd chain from hook when we started, but it's kind of the top of that last chain. So that just squares off the edge. So that's the wrong side of my first set of star stitch. If I turn it around, then you'll see the stars like that starting to develop. So what I'll do now is I'll just show you another row repeat, because from now it's just going to be a 2-row repeat. The star row and the half double crochet row. To start a normal star row when you're not chaining, we're going to chain 3. So I've chained 3, I'm going to skip that first chain. I'm going to insert my hook into the 2nd, pull up a loop, insert into the next one, yarn over, pull up a loop. Then I'm going to insert into that last half double crochet the previous stitch, so that's the first stitch of the row. Pull up a loop, and then the next one, and then the 3rd. So when you start a row, you work it into 3 chains, and then for the rest of the row you work it into 2 stitches, not chains. So I'm just going to work star stitches right across until I've just got 1 stitch, that first double crochet the previous, first half double crochet of the previous row. And we're just going to do the same pattern. So insert into the eye, then insert into the leg, insert into that stitch, and then the next 2 stitches until we have 6 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through all 6, and then chain 1. So we'll just repeat that. I find it useful as I'm working them just to count to 5, so I just know where I'm at. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's given me my 6 loops. Yarn over and pull through. So I'm at the end of that row. I've got 1 stitch left, so we're going to make another one of those finishing star stitches. Whoops. So 1, 2, 3, we're just going to count to 4. There's that last stitch, and then create that last one there, and turn. And you can actually get away with just chaining 1 at the beginning of that row if you want, because that chain that we make to kind of close that stitch, it's kind of an extra stitch, so chaining 2 there is fine. So again, we're just going to do a half double crochet in the top there, and then 2 half double crochets in each of the eyes as we go along. So that's, I'm just going to turn to chain to turn. So that you can see it's starting to come together, and this is one of those patterns that the more you make of it, the more effective it becomes. So I hope you find that useful and enjoy your star stitch.